Let's talk about this. You've been given the task of developing curriculum for elementary schools about the history of the city of Portland. That strikes me as quicksand, and I'm just wondering how you're going to go doing that, who you're going to be advising. At a moment in time when you're being criticized rightly or wrongly for not portraying a full enough history of this city, you're now going to be doing so in a formal way in the schools. And I'm just wondering, how are you going to navigate that?
Well, I mean, obviously, they have will supervise and approve and whatever we do. We under the contract, we are hiring a curriculum writer. Someone with the education, with experience, with the background that does this type of stuff, and we will provide all the materials, the artifacts, the documents, everything that we have here on the history of Portland. But obviously, Portland Public Schools has the final say. They will either approve of it or say this works, this doesn't. Fix this, fix that. So
I'm just wondering.
Well, my understanding is that they want this. That
yes,
in public schools, they don't want to be in the business of doing what Oregon Historical Society does, and they want a partnership. And saying that, I think anybody who looks at history and they don't see themselves in it as much as they used to, certainly if you're a white American compared to a first or second generation American of color. I think OHS is really giving the opportunity to tell a broader story about our history and keep adding to history. And that's something that the schools want a partnership with on.
Yeah, the schools reached out to us. We weren't seeking this. They contacted us because they've loved what we've been providing to their teachers and the curriculum we do have online. And so they proposed this to us, and I think we worked out a good arrangement. And frankly, if it works, they'll probably come back to us for more. If it doesn't work, then we've learned a lesson.
The other question is, Kerry, when we last visited, I think we asked you about the whole issue of renaming statues, schools. And if I recall, you were fairly blunt. You thought we were rushing to judgment. I guess I'm wondering whether or not I'm recalling.
No, I don't.
Said correctly, and if you've refined your position at all.
No, I don't think we're rushing to judgment. I think anytime people talk about history, I think it's a good thing. There just needs to be a process. Nobody's got the right to tie some chains to the back of their truck and to drag down Thomas Jefferson, Abraham Lincoln, Martin Luther King, you name them, who are on public grounds. And we don't. The statues that have all been knocked down are the ones the city owns them. We don't own them. We have nothing to do with them. But that is not the way to tackle this issue. The way to tackle the issue is to have a process, a conversation, a community-wide engagement where, hey, should these statues be here? Do we want to replace them? Should we replace them with, who do we replace them with? I mean, that's the way to do it.
And conversely, if somebody went up and tore down York up at Mount Tabor, it would be very upsetting to the community.
So I'm sorry, I forgot. We have renamed at least one school in the city of Portland already,
Wilson
right?
High School is now Ida B. Wells.
Right. So was that done too quickly without appropriate process?
No, that was a long process, as I recall. So they went through meetings and the students voted and they did research. I mean, and that's the way to do that. There are people out there, of course, I'm not one of them, who say, oh gosh, this is, you can't change history, and Confederate generals, and thankfully we don't have any up in Oregon, they were all traitors in my book. And the statues weren't put up after the Civil War. They were put up in the Jim Crow era to send a message. But the people who say, once the statue's up, it should always be there, I always tell them, do you think that when he retired after his career as an American hero, and the LA school district named the O.J. Simpson Elementary School, do you think that should still be there? No. Things change, perspectives change. So I'm all for, and Woodrow Wilson was an awful racist, no doubt about it. He moved America backwards. Roosevelt and Taft had started to move America forward. They were allowing blacks to work in the federal government, to manage people in federal government. Wilson, absolutely not. He took it backwards. He was an awful racist. showed the movie Birth of the Nation in the White House. You know, the fact that his name's on a high school in Oregon when he had absolutely nothing to do with Oregon, of course. Yeah, I was all for getting rid of that name. So,
a question for you on the same note. Obviously, there's been a lot of public outrage and conversation regarding the repeated destruction of your front windows. I know the damage this time around was $20,000.
yeah.
How much are you raising off of this?
Off of this one, I know off of the other one, people, did donate money, and we were very honest when they called and asked, and we said we have insurance. The damage was insured, and any money that was given to us for security, that type of thing, for windows, we have used to upgrade another security, new cameras, new this, new that, new doors. But we had insurance, we were insured. I don't know, like a lot of businesses in downtown Portland, I don't know if insurance companies, what our renewal rate is going to be when the time comes to renew insurance. It's going to be much bigger.
Well, I'm so grateful the laminate that was placed after the October one really helped mitigate.
We did upgrade after the October one to windows that are impenetrable. You can kind of crack them, spider web them. You can't break through them, which of course they did last time and threw the flare in and stole the quilt and did all the damage that they did then. This time this guy could only shatter three of the windows.
I'm just curious, and I'm sorry, I'm going to keep asking this, if you've seen a fundraising rise since October.
Since October, we saw an initial hit after the break-in, no doubt about it. But I don't, not anything that has lasted long term. Of course, and we've been going out, frequently, as all nonprofits have during this pandemic, to say, hey, look, many of our revenue streams were compromised. Admission outside of Multnomah County, of course, has dropped, off the face of the earth. Our annual History Makers Gala canceled. You can't, can do a gala. Gift shop, bookstore sales down. All our revenue streams were compromised. So and when the pandemic hit, we immediately cut expenses. I froze. I took a pay cut. All senior management took a pay cut to see, what it was going to take to ride through, the pandemic. And it's still, of course, impacting us. So
I think from what I recall in development meetings is that there was a big jump in membership renewal, which was exciting because I think people can't physically come down and protect the building. So the best way to support us and support what we're doing is through membership. That was a nice, and if you're implying that we're encouraging vandalism to get more donations, I wish we were that clever.
No implication whatsoever. I was just curious about unintended consequences.
Although I did get an email from one of the anarchy type supporters accusing me of stealing the African American quilt in October. They were sure that I had done that to pin it on the anarchists. So if only I had thought about that. So, and that, by the way, that's running us $20,000, $25,000, $30,000 to put that quilt back to to salvage it.